Warning, the following may contain dragons. Join fantasy authors Phil Tucker, Timandra Whitecastle, David Benem, Benedict Patrick, and Josiah Bancroft as they roll dice and take on the bad guys in a game of Dungeons and Dragons. 5 authors, 5 worlds, 1 adventure. It's time to get crit-faced. It's time to meet the crew.
Welcome everyone to the very first episode of Critfist. I'm sure we had a tagline, but I don't seem to be able to recall it. I'm Benedict. Are other people going to say their names?
I'm also Benedict. No, I'm Josiah.
I'm David.
Jinx.
I'm Phil.
This is going so well.
You didn't really push the record button, did you?
I totally did. This is terrible.
we had to be like, I'm Tim. I'm Josiah. No. I'm Phil. Right. I'm David, and together we are Critfaced.
I'm
Voltron.
Yes. And I'll form the head.
Are we going to start again?
Yeah, probably.
Wait, don't stop. Just keep rolling. This is great. This sounds authentic.
Okay.
It does.
We need a Tim then.
It's like us.
Excuse me, what?
Well, I don't think we've got you yet.
No, I jinxed with David.
You did jinx. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
As you can tell,
I'm dim.
As you can tell, we are professionals, just not at this. This is our Dungeons and Dragons podcast, but just before we get stuck into the meat of it, we just wanted to let everyone know that you do not need to have experience playing Dungeons and Dragons to enjoy this. There's a lot of dice rolling going on behind the scenes, but we're definitely all about the story and pretty much what you've experienced in the last minute. There's going to be a lot of that. We are going to dive into some introductions, so I think we're going to head over to Tim to introduce herself first.
Yes, because I am actually the one woman in this all-male band, because I have the male name Tim, but it's actually short for Timandra, and I'm a fantasy author, and I write the Living Blade trilogy. Which Josiah Bancroft is going to read the blurb now.
Right. The Living Blade, Book 1, Touch of Iron. Is the Living Blade real or just a legend? With it, Prince Bashan could win back his kingdom. Master Telandiaz could free himself of the burden from his past. Owen Smith sees a once-in-a-lifetime chance to gain untold knowledge. But for Nerea Smith, the Living Blade will bring nothing but suffering and sorrow.
Oh, that's really good. Oh, you should have gone last. Phil, you're up next to introduce yourself.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Phil Tucker. I write epic fantasy and fantasy of all other stripes. I live in Asheville, North Carolina. And I believe that Tim is going to read my book description.
I will try my best, although it won't be as cool as Josiah's. So, Phil's actually written a lot, but I'm going to read the blurb for
just do the first paragraph.
Chronicles of the Blackgate. So, this is the first book in the new epic fantasy series readers are comparing to David Gamel and Raymond E. Feist. It's an R Fantasy 2016 Stabby Award finalist. It's a 2016 SBFBO by Mark Lawrence finalist, and it's the 2016 Indie Spotlight BestFantasyBooks.com. A war fueled by the dark powers of forbidden sorcery is about to engulf the Ascendant Empire. Agrastian heretics armed with black fire and fueled by bitter hatred seek to sever the ancient portals that unite the Empire, and in so doing, destroy it. Shall I read on?
Oh, that's very good.
That's plenty. We could edit out all that preamble stuff, though.
No, you got to keep it.
Okay, I am Benedict Patrick. I write the Yarns World novels currently. I'm an Irishman living in Scotland. I have done so for half of my life. And Phil is going to do me.
Do him.
All right. They mostly come out at night. Yarns World, Book 1. The standalone fantasy book that readers are calling a delightfully weird, dark fairy tale. The villagers of the forest seal themselves in their cellars at night, whispering folk tales to each other about the monsters that prey on them in the dark. Only the Magpie King, their shadowy, unseen protector, can keep them safe. However, when an outcast called Lonan begins to dream of the Magpie King's defeat at the hands of inhuman invaders, this young man must do what he can to protect his village. He is the only person who can keep his loved ones from being stolen away after dark, and to do so, he will have to convince them to trust him again. They Mostly Come Out at Night is the first novel from Benedict Patrick's Yarns World series. Straddling the line between fantasy and folklore, this book is perfect for fans of the Darker Brothers Grimm stories. Start reading today to discover this epic tale of dreams, fables, and monsters.
Sounds quite nice.
I'm sold. Yeah, sold.
Yeah.
I'm taking a bow here.
Thank you. David, you're up.
I'm David Benham. I am the author of A Requiem for Heroes, a planned dark epic fantasy trilogy. The first two books are out now, What Remains of Heroes and The Wrath of Heroes, and I'm kind of starting to work on the third one. And I think Benedict Patrick, our dungeon master, is going to read my blurb.
Excuse me. What Remains of Heroes. A Requiem for Heroes, Book 1. Lannick de Veers used to be somebody. A hero, even. Then he ran afoul of the kingdom's most powerful general, and the cost he paid was nearly too much to bear. In the years that followed, his grief turned him into a shadow of his former self, and he spent his days drowning his regrets in tankards of ale. But now, an unexpected encounter casts Lannick upon an unlikely path to revenge. If he can just find the strength to overcome the many mistakes of his past, he can seize the chance to become a hero once more. And, with an ancient enemy lurking at the kingdom's doorstep, he'd better. Yeah.
Very good.
It's Josiah. Who are you?
I'm Josiah Bancroft. I'm the author of the Books of Babel series. I live in Philadelphia. I like rabbits, and my bit is going to be read by David. Go, David.
Senlin Ascends, the first of the Books of Babel. The Tower of Babel is the greatest marvel in the world. Immense as a mountain, the ancient tower holds unnumbered ringdoms, warring and peaceful, stacked one on the other like the layers of a cake. It is a world of geniuses and tyrants, of luxury and menace, of unusual animals and mysterious machines. Soon after arriving for his honeymoon at the tower, the mild-mannered headmaster of a small village school, Thomas Senlin, gets separated from his wife Maria in the overwhelming swarm of tourists, residents, and miscreants. Senlin is determined to find Maria, but to do so, he'll have to navigate madhouses, ballrooms, and burlesque theaters. He must survive betrayal, assassins, and the illusions of the tower. But if he hopes to find his wife, he will have to do more than just endure. This quiet man of letters must become a man of action.
That's very, very good. Thank you.
I've got chills, guys. That's
Chills.
I gotta go read it again.
Okay, so as you might have gathered, we are a bunch of fantasy authors. and we're about to play some Dungeons and Dragons together. But this is not our first time doing so. We have a history, and I'm sure somebody is going to volunteer to explain, what we've done so far.
Wave Echo Cave.
we played one game, one campaign.
But we did so epically.
Yeah,
We killed
there's a
the
lot of
Jello
fires.
Mole.
We burned everything.
Everything.
Meat curtains.
It did. So we have so far together as a team. We have played the starter campaign for the current version of Dungeons and Dragons. It took us about a year and a half to get through it.
Was it a year and a half?
It was over a year ago that we well over a year ago, because we've had 2 Christmas breaks so far in our gaming session.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're very thorough,
Yes, we left no stone unturned except for
No
the third of the
orc
campaign we
unburned.
skipped.
Yeah, well, that's right. We did skip a lot of it.
We did skip. It would have taken us 7 years if we'd done everything.
Nobody died.
Nope.
What? I died all the time. That was my thing.
that was your move.
So this time round we had a lot of fun, and we felt, since there's a few readers out there who read our stuff, they might be interested in hanging out with us as well. So we're going to start a new campaign, or you're going to hear the start of our new campaign, and we're just going to record it and put it out there for people to listen to. This is not scripted. I think that will be.
Just in case you thought it was.
I think it's going to be pretty clear. This is not scripted. This is basically just our normal gaming sessions, chopped into little bits and put out there for people to do something with. We did. We're doing something a wee bit different, though. We're going to play through the Curse of Strahd campaign, but we're playing with characters from our own story worlds. So that's quite exciting. Although you guys, certainly when we started this campaign, had not had a chance to meet each other's characters yet. So I think we'll leave it for our listeners to meet the characters when they pop up at the start of the adventure in the next episode. Is there anything else we need to say about this campaign before we?
We're not going to go very far before we all die. Don't get attached. Don't get attached.
I think the latest encounter has kind of shown us that we should actually go back, not even go far. We should return to the mist and just sit and wait for it to get bored with us.
So I think we're going to stop soon and let you guys actually just start listening to the actual adventure. A couple of things for those of you who do know something about Dungeons and Dragons. A few points. This is 5th edition D&D. It's the current edition as we record this. But we're not playing with any game mats or anything like that, because when we meet up once a month. We play over Google Hangouts because we're all in different parts of the world. So we're using the theater of the mind. We're just describing our actions.
The ghetto of the imagination.
So hopefully that'll come across really well in the podcast. We're not really rules experts here. We use them as a vague path, but we often head off to pick the daisies that are over the hill.
I think post your complaints in the comments below.
Yeah.
Tell us what we got wrong.
Don't do that. Please don't do that. We're telling you no. We're not going to stick with the proper rules just because we don't know them as well. The story and just having fun is the most important bit. I think that's it. So I think without further ado, we're going to let you guys head on to the next episode.
To dying.
Yes, we're going to go back and die a little more. All right. Take care.
Bye. I don't know if you're supposed to say goodbye at the end, but I do that in there. Bye.
It was totally cool.
Thanks. I was working on that for a while.
Crit Faced is a weekly Dungeons & Dragons podcast. To make sure you never miss an episode, and to get an exclusive prequel episode of the podcast where you can find out what our characters were up to before this adventure began, head over to critfacedpodcasts.com and join our Crit Faced fan group.